Namaste, Jai Hind, and Kem Cho Gujarat, Kem Cho Bharat. That's what I must say because I'm joining you live from Ahmedabad for yet another edition of Free Hit with the one and only, along with the one and only Ayaz Memon. So, Ayaz bhai ko bhi क्यों इन करते हैं? Ayaz bhai, namaste.
नमस्ते आनंद, are you having ढाकरा and फाफड़ा and all of that or not? क्या कर रहे हैं आप
Sir,
गुजरात में?
36 hours I've been here. जितना हमने इलेक्शन कवरेज किया उससे ज्यादा तो मैंने खाया है.
But it's a great place to eat food. You know, Ahmedabad is. मैं actually कल आने वाला हूँ वहाँ पर for entirely different reasons. हाँ, for entirely. In fact, you've gone there for politics. I'm going there for a little bit of sport. But our paths shall not cross because you're going back to Delhi while I'm on my way to Ahmedabad.
Yes, we've been on the road. So Surat में मैंने लोचो खाया, which is very unique, which is a unique, very lovely, unique breakfast item. इसको खाना चाहिए.
Right.
जब आप सूरत जाएं, you must have लोचो. लोचो इज जो लोचा हो गया. क्या कैसे वो खमन बनाने चले और वो लोचा बन गया. It's like that. So that's locho. So it's very unique.
Even the mistake is delicious. Even the mistake is delicious.
Absolutely. So Rajkot, I had lots of chivda and farsan. Ahmedabad, I had this huge spread of a Gujarati thali. इतना खाली है सर कि जो भी डाइट रूटीन है अभी मुझे कम से कम 6 हफ्ते फुल टाइट डाइट रहना पड़ेगा इसको बर्न करने के लिए.
यार मेरा पेट तो ऐसे ही भर गया आपकी बातें सुनकर. रात को मैं क्या खाऊंगा?
आप अहमदाबाद आइए, कुछ खाइए. यू मस्ट कम टू दिस प्लेस कॉल्ड महेंद्र थाट एंड वहाँ पे थाली खाइए गुजराती. इट्स रियली गुड. जी इतना भी है ना कि पेट में ऐसा वो बदहजमी एसिडिटी होती है ना खाना खाने के बाद, इतना थाली खाने के बाद ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Your stomach is full, but it's not burning.
Fantastic.
There's no acidity element that's coming.
Before we talk about cricket now, as you're going to take up some issues, I just wanted to ask you, Ravindra Jadeja's wife is contesting, as you know, and we have seen pictures of him promoting her in road shows, etc. etc. He's campaigning for her, and his sister is campaigning for the other side. So it's quite a drama happening in that part of the state.
Yeah, there is a lot of drama and that is the part which is going to go for polls in the first phase.
Okay.
Because Saurashtra, Surat, that region is going to go for polls tomorrow, and that means on Thursday. And I am going to be heading to Somnath, so we will be covering or reporting about the first phase of polling from Somnath, which is also part of Saurashtra, that region.
Correct, yes.
But अगर आप देखें क्रिकेटिंग फैमिलीज में भी सिंधियाज भी तो थे.
हाँ ये तो है.
बटे हुए थे. कांग्रेस वर्सेस बीजेपी, ब्रदर सिस्टर, वो तो
हुआ है. ये तो है. महाराष्ट्र में भी बहुत है. अभी हर जगह है.
अभी नहीं अभी रविशंकर प्रसाद बीजेपी, then शुक्ला जी and राजीव शुक्ला जी in Congress. But they are both related by marriage.
Right.
तो ये सब तो पॉलिटिकल प्रेफरेंसेस सबके अलग अलग हो सकते हैं. So, but cricket brings them all together.
Cricket is stands on its own pedestal in Indian life.
Absolutely. लेकिन अभी आप मुझे बताइए, where is Indian cricket right now? न्यूजीलैंड में गए, सीरीज हार गए, 2 तो बारिश ने जीत लिया. But what are the lessons there?
I think very few learnings. To be honest, I mean, we won the T20 series. वहाँ पर भी बरसात ने काफी दखल दिया. So in a sense, we were, New Zealand were unfortunate, and New Zealand were unfortunate not to win the ODI series 2-0 because they looked in complete control in the third match. India had been bowled out for a meager score. The positives क्या है India के लिए? मैं कहूँगा कि the emergence of Umran, he didn't take a bag full of wickets. He got a couple of wickets in his first match on his debut, but he bowled with a lot of heart and a lot of speed, which is very important. The thinking जो है अब change हो रही है कि we need one really express bowler who's there, who unleashes these thunderbolts. Doesn't matter if he gets plastered and hit for runs, somewhere it is going to happen. But you need one such bowler in the attack. So Umran has, put his hat in the ring, so to speak. कि अब मुझे आप ignore नहीं कर सकते. The other guy I thought who impressed me, apart from Suryakumar Yadav, हमने उसके बारे में बहुत बात की, सेंचुरी भी बना ली उसने, is Washington Sundar. who,
Yeah.
if you remember, Anand, a couple of years back, he looked the most promising youngster coming up as an all-rounder. There was Ashwin, there was Jadeja. Pandya was a little, vulnerable at that point in time, and Washington Sundar played a very key role in India's memorable triumph in Australia 2 years back in the Test series. And then he seemed to kind of fade, injure ho gaye, performances कोई अच्छी नहीं रही. He's come back very strongly. I thought, for me, he was the most impressive, apart from Suryakumar Yadav and Umran, of course, who's a fresher. But he was the most impressive for his batting. Now, not for his bowling so much as his batting. The pitches were not helpful to the spinners, but batting अच्छी किया उसने. And the biggest disappointment was Rishabh Pant. He had many opportunities in T20 and ODIs. Didn't make any impact at all in terms of runs. Which is not to say that he's a poor player, which is just to say that he also needs to quickly start making runs to come back as a certainty in the playing 11, whichever the format.
No, I just feel we start with a lot of things. One of it is this fast bowler. देखिए ऐसा नहीं है कि बीच में जेन्युइन फास्ट बॉलर नहीं था, लेकिन क्या किया हमारे टीम के सीनियर्स ने, नेट्स में उनके इतना फास्ट बॉलिंग और छोटा बॉलिंग करवाया क्योंकि दे वांटेड टू प्ले द शॉर्ट बॉल कि उनकी कमर तोड़ दी. वरुण एरन, one case in point. There were 2-3 others also who came in with a lot of potential and promise, but उनको नेट बॉलिंग इतना कराया, इतना से कि उसका बैक स्ट्रेस फ्रैक्चर हो गया, वो खत्म ही हो गया वरुण एरन. Nobody is talking about him. Now, they should not do the same thing with Umran Malik. They should not do the same thing with Hardik Pandya and some of the others. Now, obviously, he's become a mainstream bowler, but Hardik is also nursing a sore back. He's come back after a stress fracture to his back and he's made a comeback.
Yes.
So, these people can bowl regularly above 140 clicks, but how we manage them is important. Look at Bumrah. Wear and tear of the body is important. So, we have to be very careful that the seniors don't say, कि तू फास्ट डालते आजा नेट पे डाल क्योंकि मेरे को उस बॉलर को फेस करना है, तो मैं तेरी कमर नेट पे तोड़ता हूँ. और एक नहीं, हमारे यहाँ 4-5 ऐसे बैट्समैन खड़े हो जाते हैं जो कि 1-1, 2-2 घंटा बैटिंग करके जाते हैं. उनको यहीं पे बॉल डाल, छोटी डाल, मेरे को इधर डाल, मेरे को हुक प्रैक्टिस करना है, मेरे को ये प्रैक्टिस करना है, डकिंग प्रैक्टिस करना है. ये बहुत चला है और कई सारे फास्ट बॉलर्स के करियर ऐसे बर्बाद हुए हैं. Atul Vasan downwards.
Right. So, I mean, you've raised actually two very important questions. Let me try and answer both as, briskly as I can or as swiftly as I can. One is, of course, ये दुखती रग पकड़ी आपने कि ये bowlers break down हो रहे हैं और बहुत ज़्यादा break down हो रहे हैं in the Indian context. क्योंकि आपके पास आजकल 12-13 bowlers हैं to pick from. तो उसमें से अगर 5-6 break down हो गए, then you left with 5 or 6. और वो 5-6 देख रहे हैं कि 5-6 ब्रेक डाउन हो गए, तो उनका वैसे ही हालत उनकी जो है खस्ता हो जाती है. Just the fact of so many breaking down. And I think, and I have an issue, I've raised this maybe with you also earlier, कि NCA में हो क्या रहा है, National Cricket Academy में. Guys who are going in after breaking down, they emerge from there and they break down within a week and they go back again. So either the NCA, rehab process or procedures need to be re-examined. Are they being brought back into international level too early in anxiety or in impatience? क्या हो रहा है ये देखना पड़ेगा. दूसरा ये है कि bowlers खुद जो है, maybe the NCA rehab program is excellent, but the players are not taking care of themselves once they are outside the NCA. तो ये भी हमें देखना होगा कि you can't muck around with expert advice. Are you following that expert advice diligently or not? और दूसरी बात ये है कि आप ये जो शॉर्ट गेंदे या वगैरह जो चेज डालने को बोलते हैं नेट्स में होगा, एक रिलीफ ये है कि नाउ दे हैव these bowlers or these guys called throw me downs. They do the throw downs and they are throwing at 150, 160 also. Just to let the batsmen get
with those slings. You got those slings.
With those slings, yes, to make them face extreme pace of 17, 18 yards. So that you sharpen the reflexes and you get that fear out. These are the two factors that I've been, what I've understood. एक डर निकल जाए और दूसरा ये है कि उनके reflexes और sharp हो जाए.
Muscle memory.
Yes. But also it is important कि nets में, this is the best way for bowlers to remain fit is to bowl fairly long spells at the nets. You may not always bowl at 150, but you still have to go out there. You can't say कि मैं 15 गेंद डालूंगा फिर मैं चले जाऊंगा if you're a mainline bowler. You have to bowl.
मैं वो नहीं कह रहा.
Yes. But the injury and workload management sometimes can be taken to, raised to a fault. कि अरे workload संभालो. I mean, Kapil Dev, the only test match he ever missed was when he was dropped. And that is an issue or a controversial issue which is still discussed in Indian cricket. You know?
No,
so his funda was clear कि आप जितना भागोगे और bowling करोगे उतना आप fit रहोगे.
नहीं देखिए ये फंडा जो है वसीम भाई ने भी बोला है, वसीम अकरम ने भी बोला है, यही फंडा अगर आप देखें ब्रेटली, Shane Bond, all of them have said it. Shane Bond also had stress on his back, but he said I would always run in and bowl. But see, every bowler 6 की 6 बॉलें छोटी नहीं डालता है, और वो भी 1.5-2 घंटे छोटी नहीं डालता है. वो एक स्पेल होगा जहाँ पे वो प्लान करके आएगा कि मेरे को छोटी डालनी है, और फिर वो करेगा, पर उसके बाद फिर वो स्विंग कराएगा, अलग अलग लेंथ्स पे खेलेगा, वो करेगा, तो वो स्प्रेड करता है अपना वर्कलोड. जब आप कंसिस्टेंटली किसी को कहते हो कि तुम बस छोटी डालो और इस स्पीड पे डालो, तो आप तो प्रेशर डाल रहे हो उसके बैक पे, उसके लोड पे डाल रहे हो. नाउ यू आर सेइंग द स्लिंग्स हैव कम. The other thing I want to check, talk to you about is how are we planning the career of these people? You are saying what is happening at the NCA. Insecurity, anxiety, yes, will come into play क्योंकि ये इसको ज्यादा चांस मिल गया, इसको नहीं. लेकिन हम लोग कितने प्लेयर्स का करियर मैनेजमेंट हम कर रहे हैं. नटराजन कहाँ गया? अभी अर्शदीप कहाँ जाएगा? बुमराह, दीपक चहर, कितने सारे हैं. बीच में तो कई सारे आए थे, सामने दिख रहे हैं, सबके पोटेंशियल है, आईपीएल में दिखते हैं, उसके बाद गायब हो जाते हैं. So why can we not have a system where we'll say that कि भाई इससे मैं ओडीआई खिलाऊंगा, इससे मैं T20 खिलाऊंगा, इससे मैं टेस्ट खिलाऊंगा, और फिर रोटेट करूंगा, हर 6 months इनको मैं रोटेट करूंगा ताकि they can play all formats and they still be fresh.
Right. So I mean, this is a very interesting and important consideration what you've raised. You know, but it's also a vexing issue because आप जैसे अर्शदीप है today, he's I mean he's a young fellow, he's raring to go because he's enjoying success. अब आप उसको कहोगे कि बिकॉज ऑफ वर्कलोड मैनेजमेंट में आपको अभी बांग्लादेश के अगेंस्ट नहीं खिलाऊंगा, उसके बाद जो सीरीज आ रही है नहीं खिलाऊंगा, आई विल रिज्यूम योर करियर इन मार्च. It's not going to, I think it might become counterproductive. But what you're saying and what they need to do, and especially with somebody like Rahul Dravid, who's so data driven and detail driven, also Rohit Sharma, who's a man of extreme experience now, huge amounts of experience, and who's been through his injury phases himself. तो एक तो ये है कि कितना शरीर ले सकता है, कितने बॉलर का कितना बैटरिंग he can take, the bowler, and therefore you don't exceed that. You've got the data available for that. You've got people, there's an equivalent. There was a yo-yo test earlier, now there's an equivalent of that, especially for fast bowlers. You've got the experts in the NCA who can give you that data. So you manage that workload based on that. But keeping the matrix of that, you have to play these many matches and you have to win these many matches and win the series. That is very important. क्योंकि अगर आप evenly distribute करने जाएंगे some matches, then you might find that your key bowlers are missing. For I mean, Australia is coming to India. You can't have your best bowlers not playing because आपने उनको rest दे दिया है. I think that this is something that
I'm just saying, this is something England also did. They went through a phase when they were losing consistently, but then they also got into a phase when they started winning consistently.
Right.
So that was because they had bowlers who could step in even in emergency. उनके पास 8-10 bowler हैं जो कभी भी घुस के मैच जिता सकते हैं. There will always be one pivot. One bowler will be pivot. That person also, there will be 2 or 3 people who you will identify as pivots, and they will also play that role. So Jasprit Bumrah will play 10-15 matches simultaneously, then rest a bit. There will be somebody else who will step in like a Shami or somebody else who will play that role of the pivot, or Bhuvneshwar Kumar who will play the role of the pivot at that time, and then the others will rotate around this guy. So because you have Shardul, you have Deepak Chahar, you have Umran Malik, you have Mohammad Siraj, you got so many players who can pivot around one experienced player, experienced bowler. So that's as far as the bowling is concerned. अब दूसरी बात, आपने फिटनेस की बात की, ये कैप्टन बदल गया, अब सारे धीरे धीरे फैलने लग गए. आप देखिए फिटनेस का एक बहुत बड़ा इशू है. शिखर धवन कंसिस्टेंटली फिट रहता है लेकिन कोई उसकी बात नहीं करता. वो एक अंडररेटेड कैप्टन भी है, अंडररेटेड लीडर है, सीनियर इन द साइड है, बट नॉट एवरीबडी इज एज डिसिप्लिन्ड एज अ विराट कोहली और अ शिखर धवन और अ हार्दिक पांड्या.
Yeah, I mean, look, Virat was an exception. If you look in the context of fitness, apart from his batting exploits also, but in the context of fitness, he was, he set benchmarks which others had to catch up. or aspire to, and maybe even that didn't help them reach his level, because look at him, he's remained uniformly fit for the last 7, 8, 9 years. I don't think he's had breakdowns. He may have taken some, some matches for rest or whatever it might be for both of his daughter, etc., vagera, vagera. But he's not broken down and become unfit, which most of the players have had. So it shows that it is possible to retain peak fitness for long periods of time. If Virat can do it, so can the others. What it requires is discipline, dedication, and obviously passion for wanting to be fit. This is the most difficult part. Anand, since you are a fitness buff yourself, let me tell you that unless you have the mental toughness and the deep desire कि मुझे कुछ भी हो जाए जाके मुझे ट्रेन करना है, नहीं ऐसा नहीं है कि मैं आज चल 2 दिन में गुटली मारता हूँ फिर आके वापस I'll make up, I'll catch up. It never happens. So that has to come from within. And once you reach those levels of fitness, and he was obviously an inspiration. When your captain is setting such high standards, willy-nilly, you have to match up. Otherwise you're going to be left behind. मुझे याद है No, I just want to add, एक श्रीलंका के टूर पे था मैं 2015 I think, when Virat was a very new captain. In fact, that was his first series as captain, independently, a test captain. And there was at the Taj, hotel over there, Taj Colombo mein. There was a meeting with the players and the media, and no other players came. Even Virat, till Virat finished his whole regimen and came, because सब उसके पीछे लगे हुए थे कि यार ये नहीं छोड़ेगा तो हम भी नहीं छोड़ सकते जिम. That was the kind of influence he had. I think that is something that needs to be kind of become. It needs to be percolating right through.
इसमें ना sir, it's not just about wanting to stay fit. There is science behind it. There is absolute physics behind it. अब आप ज़हीर खान को देखिए. Every time he became fit, he lost 6, 7, 8 kilos. Then for a spell of 6 to 8 months, he had fantastic bowling. Then in those 6 for 8 months, because he would start gaining weight again, and immediately the moment he exceeded that 5, 6 kilos ka weight gain, he would have an injury on his legs, knee, back, somewhere. Why? Because it's physics. Because the amount of pressure you are exerting, the poundage that happens, the G-force exerted, all of that has a direct relation to your bones. Top players in the world have kept their body weight, ideal body weight, or they've kept themselves 1 or 2 kilos below their ideal body weight. Because that's what gives them that spring in the step, that elevation, that elasticity, and also reduces the pressure on the bones, because they put so much of pressure on these bones. And then of course, हर किसी का अलग अलग तरीका होता है. How do you remain fit? कपिल देव का नुस्खा अलग है, विराट कोहली का नुस्खा अलग है, जसप्रीत बुमराह का नुस्खा अलग है. लेकिन you have to train yourself to be at your optimum level at all points in time. You can't compromise. अब आप ऋषभ पंत को देख लीजिए. Every time you see him play, don't you think in your first point, is he 100% fit? Is he fit enough to not just keep for 5 days non-stop or 4 days non-stop plus bat? Do you not feel that he is making mistakes in his batting because he is not 100% fit? Does he not need to work on that? Now, is he taking that seriously? Because it makes a difference. Because if I am not confident, now उसका उल्टा भी है कि पंत को जब तक आप confidence नहीं दोगे कि भाई तुमको 100% टीम में रखा जाएगा, तुम drop नहीं होगे, तब तो होगा मैं किस लिए effort लगाऊं?
Right. नहीं देखिए, what you're saying is absolutely right. There is a scientific approach we have to adopt. There's nothing you can do about genes, but you can do a lot more once you identify that that okay, now these are my limitations, that these are the handicaps. This is something that I'm born with. Then I need to work that much harder. And today, science, and especially, the physics that goes into maintaining and sustaining fitness tells you how things can be done extremely well. You talked about fast bowlers. I mean, Jimmy Anderson is a classic instance in part. He's 40 years old. And the way he has handled himself, of course, handled also by the selectors and his team, but he's gone to Pakistan, where they'll probably have dead as dodo pitches, and he's the first choice. He's going to play in the first test tomorrow, which starts tomorrow, unless the half the team is unwell. If they don't recover, they might shift the test match to Friday. But to bowl on those pitches, he must have mentally planned क्या मुझे करना है 3, 4, 5 months back when the English home season was on. वो ऐसे नहीं हो जाता है. So he has had a whole dose of preparation going behind, because he wants to still play at the test level. His appearances are not there in white ball cricket; they're only in Test cricket.
Right.
But even so, you have to make sure that you're fit and fit to bowl in the conditions which are not your typical English conditions. So ये तो करना पड़ेगा आपको. ये तो है ही.
नहीं, और देखिए इसमें इन लोगों ने क्या किया, अपने आप को मैनेज तो किया है. A lot of them have worked on their fitness in such a way that they become leaner but still remain stronger. They have also learned how to work their skill in such a way to not use so much of physical power as much as they use their skill going on. No, see, Federer model. It's a pure play Federer model. See, Federer changed the guttings of his racket, the weight of his racket. Tendulkar changed the weight of his bat. As they became older. A lot of them made adjustments just so that they can play smarter and they can also extend their longevity. Now, the last point, हमारे पास time कम है, but last 4-5 minutes I want to spend on leadership. Do you think there needs to be a change or a revisit in terms of who leads the Indian side? Can we have so many flips and flops as far as who will be captain? कभी शिखर धवन, कभी हार्दिक पांड्या, कभी ऋषभ पंत, कभी रोहित शर्मा. ये नहीं हो सकता ना. You need to have. Do you think Indian cricket can survive with 2 captains or 3 captains?
My gut is that we are heading. Yeah, I think we are heading there. If not 3 captains, maybe 2 captains. White ball and red ball. I think we are heading there. It looks to me that Rohit, of course, is firmly ensconced as the Test captain. He was also captain in the other 2 formats, but now Hardik became captain in T20s, Shikhar in ODIs. I think the only issue about Hardik so far, or still, is whether he is completely, free of threat from, injury and all that. Otherwise, especially in ODIs, because where you have to bowl more than 4 overs. You have to bowl 5 or 6 or maybe even 10 overs. Can he take that workload? If he can't, then फिर क्या करना चाहिए? Play him only as a batsman. These are considerations. Of course, the fact that KL Rahul got injured and then he was also out of form has queered the pitch, so to speak. Because otherwise he was your default captain. He was your default captain in white ball cricket. Now that default captain is actually Hardik. And after Hardik, actually it would have been Rishabh Pant. But Rishabh Pant has gone out of form. So therefore, Shikhar Dhawan, old, reliable, tested and tried and always there. I call him the evergreen man of Indian cricket because he has been around for 10, 12 years. And he's always been delivering in whatever capacity he's been asked to perform. So yes, there is a little confoundment where the leadership pattern is concerned. I think Bangladesh may or may not provide the answers because, it's still ये team में कुछ है, कुछ नहीं. Umran Malik नहीं है Bangladesh की tour में. Some of the other players are not there. You would have imagined. Sanju Samson nahi hai Bangladesh mein. So I don't know what the hell is happening. But ये है, मुझे लगता है आगे जाते हुए there'll be Rohit for Test captain, and if he is not able to take the load of also playing the other 2 formats, then clearly that as the signs are clear that Hardik is emerging as the T20 captain, and if he has the capacity. His body has the capacity to take that further load of ODIs, then he might also be the ODI choice as an ODI captain.
Sir, with no disrespect to Rohit Sharma, I really like him, but 45 will have to drop some load to take on more load.
हाँ नहीं, वो तो फिटनेस का तो सबके लिए प्रॉब्लम है, सबको करना है. You have to all become fit. I see that there is no compromise on that issue in today's day and age. In today's cricket, cricket is no longer a game of just skills. It's also a game of supreme fitness and athleticism. So that's become, and especially in the white ball formats, it's become paramount.
Yeah, I totally agree. But Ayaz bhai, as we have had this conversation over the last 24 minutes, यहाँ ढल गया दिन, हो गई शाम. तो इसलिए मेरा चेहरा देखिए डार्क हो रहा है. तो अब जाने दो जाना है.
आप अच्छे रंगीले गाने के मूड में हो तो I can't hold you back, but you must try out the फाफड़ास. I know you're going to
किया, फाफड़ा भी ट्राई किया.
अच्छा, फाफड़ा भी ट्राई कर लिया है.
अरे सर, 36 घंटे में इतना खाया है ना. अभी देखो यहाँ पे ब्लैक कॉफी पी रहा हूँ हजम करने के लिए.
I always say that Gujarat, in Bombay we keep saying Gujarati जो भी कर रहे हैं नाश्ता करते हैं. What they call it नाश्ता is a snack. नाश्तो, snack or meal. But the range of नाश्तो you get in Gujarat is absolutely marvelous. It's a great place if you're a gourmet,
or gourmand. Best part बताऊँ आपको. हाँ, best part बताऊँ आपको. 90% of this नाश्तो is very healthy. it's filling, but see, the khaman is steamed. Okay, the khandvi is just chane ka dal. Most of the nashto is puffed rice. Is chana dal, chana chor garam. It is seeds. It is this. So very little fried. Even the undiyo is baked and steamed. Sabzi jo banai hai, usme bhi masala kam lagta hai. So I've had a lot of food, but I don't have acidity, badhazmi and all of that. It's not given me that. It's just that कि भाई बहुत खाली है.
आपने जिस तरह से फिटनेस के बारे में बात करा है, मैंने आपने जिस तरह से बात किया फिटनेस के लिए, how players should be, taking care of their own fitness. You're a living example. जितना भी खाओ उतना मत खाओ कि एसिडिटी हो जाए, उससे कम ही रखो.
करेक्ट. खुश रहो, अच्छे से खाओ, लेकिन इतना मत खाओ कि पेट बोले क्या कर रहे हो भाई. But this has to become a mantra. Fitness has to become a mantra. It comes with discipline. It has to be. जैसे like see how disciplined you are with keeping your moods in shape.
I would go one step further, Anand, in the context of sport and Indian cricket, representing the country at the international level. It's not just a mantra. It must be an imposition. It has to be, it's a compulsion. Top it has to be, yes. And if you've got 3-4 breakdowns, then there is a problem. There must be some solution to that, because otherwise what happens is that the whole thing goes out of whack. Imagine now how India went out of whack because Bumrah broke down. Not his fault, but he broke down. And your campaign starts, you have to start refashioning your campaign all over again. So ये सब जितना limit हो जाए, minimize हो जाए, that's for the betterment of the team and for Indian cricket.
Yeah, रविंद्र जडेजा को देखो, इतना कैंपेन कर रहा है लेकिन फिटनेस रूटीन नहीं छोड़ा.
हाँ, नहीं छोड़ा.
लेकिन इंजरी आ गया तो बट ये डील, वो तो फ्रीकिश इंजरी था, उंगली तोड़ के तो आप क्या करोगे, हाथ में तार टूट गया तो आप क्या करोगे.
But he's also a naturally fit guy. He's a natural athlete, and I think natural athletes love to be on training, running around. ये सब,
उनको मजा.
हमारे जैसे कुर्सी पे बैठने वाले नहीं, वो मैदान पे होते हैं आपकी तरह.
चलिए अयाज भाई, आओ जो.
Yeah, and Khaujo while you're there in Ahmedabad and Gujarat. See you.
Bye. See you.
Thank you.